Paying off debt could seem overwhelming, but it doesn't have to be if you have the right debt repayment strategy in place. So in this video, I'm going to go over two methods of how to pay off your debt, the debt avalanche versus the debt snowball. I'll go over each one of these individually, and then I'll compare the pros and cons between each of them. Let's get right into it. First, let's talk about the debt avalanche. Debt avalanche, also known as debt stacking, is where you take all of your debts and you pay it from the highest interest first, and then work your way down to the lowest interest debt last. Just a reminder, debt could be any amount of money that you owe to someone else. So for the debt avalanche example, this could be for student loans, credit cards, personal loans, car loans, every debt that you have where you owe someone money besides your mortgage. So if you were to write down all the different types of debt that you have, as I just mentioned, you're gonna list it from the top priority, which is the highest interest rate. Usually credit cards could be up to 24%, and then to the lowest interest rate, which could be car loans, which could be as low as 3%. The reason why you would pay the highest interest debt first with the avalanche method is because the highest interest is usually costing you the most amount of money per month. Now, if you have credit card debt that's costing you 20% up to 24% per year, which could be around 1 to 2% per month, if you want to get rid of that debt or at least alleviate that interest rate, what you could do is get a balance transfer. So there are certain cards that have 0% interest rates, and if you transfer your balance from any credit cards that you have, let's say it's $3,000 on one card, $5,000 on another, $10,000 on another card, you could transfer those balances over to a 0% interest card. Now, the 0% interest card is only an introductory 0% period. So what that means is that for 12 months, 18 months, some of them are up to 21 months of 0%. Now that your credit card debt is moved over to a 0% card, you want to pay off that debt still, because once that 0% introductory period is over, they're going to charge you a really high interest rate. Could even be as high as 24%, and then you're left in the same mess as you were before. So if you decide to transfer the balance of your credit cards over to a 0% introductory card, I highly recommend you still make that credit card a priority, even though the interest rate may be zero for a short period of time. Some examples of 0% interest credit cards would be the Citi Diamond Preferred Card, which could offer 0% up to 18 months. But remember, after that 18% mark is over, or 18-month mark is over, you're gonna have to pay up to 24% in interest. Another example could be the Chase Freedom Unlimited card, which could offer you 15 months of 0% APR. And this card is good because after you pay off all your debt, you could earn 1.5 points for every dollar you spend, or 1.5 cash back. But as I mentioned before, number one priority is to get rid of this debt as soon as possible. And to finish up with the debt avalanche method, once you get the highest interest debt out of the way, then you go to the next highest debt interest, pay off all of that, then the next one, until you're at the lowest interest debt, you pay off that, and then you are debt free. By the way, I'm David, and if you want wise money tips to build a wealthy future, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Next, let's talk about the debt snowball method. With the debt snowball, you're gonna list all of your debts in order from smallest amount of debt to largest amount of debt. So not interest, but the actual amount of debt you have. In this case, the interest rate is irrelevant. You're just going from the smallest amount of debt to the largest amount of debt. And same as the debt avalanche method. So if you have credit card debt, personal loan, student loan, car loan, you're gonna list in a piece of paper the amount of debt from smallest debt to largest debt, and you don't even need the interest rate on this piece of paper, just the amount itself. Then step number 2 would be to make minimum payments on all your debts except for the smallest debt. Then step number 3 would be to pay as much as possible on your smallest debt. Step number 4 would be to repeat until each debt is paid in full. The reason why you want to pay off the smallest debt first is more for a psychological reason compared to a mathematical reason. Mathematically, the debt snowball method may not make the most sense. The reason why is because you could be paying a higher interest rate on a different debt that may have a higher amount, but you're not getting to that debt first, you're just going for the smallest amount. Psychologically, the reason why you would use a debt snowball method is because it's giving you small wins and making you feel victories as you're going along and then you gain momentum to knock off your biggest debt. So if you have, let's just say, $1,000 debt as your smallest debt, you pay that off within a few months, then the next debt is $4,000. Then you could pay off that over the next 6 months or so, and then you're gonna keep working your way up to the higher amount of debts. The reason why that helps people psychologically is because you feel a sense of accomplishment, because you are paying off debt and it's less debt to pay off, and you feel better about the debt repayment process. Before I compare the pros and cons of the Debt Avalanche and Debt Snowball, let me know down in the comments below, which one do you like better, the Debt Avalanche or the Debt Snowball? Let me know down below. So now let's compare the pros and cons with the Debt Snowball versus the Debt Avalanche. With the Debt Snowball, you're gaining motivation as you pay off the smaller debts, which lets you see the light at the end of the tunnel. Compared to the Debt Avalanche, if you're tackling the highest interest rate, or it could be the highest amount, you could be paying all this money but not seeing any results, and which makes people feel less motivated to pay off their debt. Financially, the Debt Avalanche makes the most sense because you are paying off the highest interest rate, which is costing you the most amount of money per month. Compared to the Debt Snowball, it doesn't matter what the interest rate is. The whole idea is to give you motivation, and financially or mathematically, the Debt Snowball is inferior to the Debt Avalanche. So when deciding what is the best method to use, whether the Debt Avalanche or the Debt Snowball, it really depends on an individual and an individual's goals. But if you're serious about paying debt, I highly recommend you click this video right over here. It's about the 7 baby steps by Dave Ramsey of how to go from debt to building wealth in just 7 steps. So you could click that video right over there right now, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.